You know, as technology exploded in the 20th century and now into the 21st, there are two technologies that are virtually the same as they've always been. At least I was told this just last week about the first one, that basic tech being oil drilling. I was told it hasn't changed a whole lot over the past 50 years. Our speaker today may differ with that, but the other technology is, of course, the internal combustion engine. And no surprise that the two are linked. ChristineEhlig economidis, who is a professor of petroleum engineering at Texas A&M, not only raises the question, is it possible, however, to move even faster on less fuel? She is going to tell us yes and how. Transportation grids of the future is her 20-minute topic today, but in the breakout room, be sure that you ask her about her soon-to-be new wheels and what it means when high-performance sports cars go hybrid. Here's Dr. ChristineEhlig economidis. Dr. Economidis.
Good morning. Well, I am a petroleum engineer, and I could talk about drilling, but you didn't come here for that. So what I am going to talk to you about is a transportation system that I think it would make you feel good about driving your own car every day. Feel good about it. So, before I talk to you about dual mode transportation, I want to explain to you 4 challenges that we face with our current transportation system. The first challenge is about congestion. And all of you who drive in Houston, you must be very familiar with this problem of congestion. Our freeways feel more like parking lots. Well, get used to it because it's going to get worse. Over the next 25 years, Texas' population is expected to nearly double. The vehicles on our roads are expected to nearly triple, and our road capacity is expected to go up by about 6%. So things are not going to get better. In fact, they're going to get a lot worse. The second, well, before I go into the second one, let's just look at this image of what it feels like sometimes and mention that this waste in traffic is about fuel and it's about your time, and it amounts to about $80 billion per year nationally. Now my second challenge. The second challenge has to do with pollution. And the thing I could mention for you first is that Houston and Dallas and El Paso, our major metropolitan areas in Texas, are becoming unattainment zones, and this means that we risk not getting federal funding to help support our transportation problems. So that's not good, could make things worse. And besides that, we're choking on these emissions. We're talking about carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxides and sulfur oxides. We don't need this. Well, our third challenge in transportation has to do with energy security. What I'm trying to tell you is that even if you're one of the people, and there are many people who think this way, that want to drive an American car to be more patriotic, well, you're driving it on foreign fuel because 60% of our oil is imported. And it's imported from countries, many that are unstable and unfriendly to the United States. 2/3 of what we import is going into your cars and trucks and buses. And the final challenge has to do with safety. We'll see some statistics coming up on this slide for the state of Texas, but let me just tell you that about 43,000 people die in fatalities on roads and highways in the nation every year. The most dangerous thing that you do every day is to get in your car and drive somewhere. So, what we're looking for is a way to solve all 4 of these major challenges at the same time. So we need to solve congestion, traffic, we need to solve pollution, we need to solve energy security, and we need to solve safety. Now, there are some solutions out there. We're certainly trying. And one of them is, for example, high occupancy vehicles. Well, yeah, I mean, if you can find a partner to go with you every time you want to drive somewhere, I guess you can get in the HOV. And yeah, the traffic next to you is in a parking lot and you're able to move as long as things aren't clogged in the HOV lane too. So at least for those in the HOV lane, it's kind of addressing congestion. A little bit is addressing pollution and energy security because a few fewer cars are driving as a result of the HOV lane. And a kind of similar idea is carpooling. This is an unusual kind of carpooling. But it's the same thing. Not really addressing safety with this, a little bit addressing congestion, a little bit pollution and energy security. Now here's emerging technology coming up, and this is things like the hybrid cars that we just heard about in the last talk, and fuel cell vehicles. Now, let's talk about fuel cell vehicles for a second. Those are running on hydrogen. So in terms of pollution, they're really neat because they're not going to put out any of those noxious gases that I spoke about a minute ago. Only water vapor. And something neat about fuel cells, or about hydrogen, the fuel for the fuel cells, is that you can make hydrogen from a variety of sources. So you actually don't need any oil. You don't need to burn any oil to make these hydrogen fuel cars go. Hybrids, you still burn some gasoline, yes, but a lot less of it. So we're definitely attacking energy security in a big way with these cars. Nothing to do with congestion, no help with safety. These are still just personal vehicles. Well, so what I want to talk to you about today is a solution that goes after all these four challenges at the same time. And this solution has been called dual mode transportation. Now let me just give you a rough idea what this means. You have your own personal vehicle. It drives right into your garage. When you're ready to go somewhere, you drive it on regular roads like a regular car. But when you approach an electrified, automated guideway, you relinquish control of your car to the guideway, so it becomes computerized control, automated. And not only that, but you get your energy from the guideway as well. And so we go to electrified transportation. Now, what electrified transportation has in common with hydrogen economy or hydrogen-based transportation is that electricity as well can be made from many sources of energy. We don't have to burn oil to make electricity. And as a matter of fact, in this country, we don't burn oil to make electricity. So what I want to show to you now are 7 different concepts that are out there for the dual mode systems. There are actually more than 100 concepts that I could show you, but I've picked these. And I actually have a couple of the inventors here to talk to you after this session. So I'm going to start with what's called quick lane. The inventor for quick lane is Steve Garfink, and he'll be out there to answer questions for you after this session. Let's listen to the video.
It's 7:15 a.m. Dan drives his car out of the driveway and heads for the office. Like 75% of all U.S. commuters, Dan drives solo to work. In just a few minutes, he gets to the freeway where he steers onto a special entrance ramp that gives him access to the quick lane. As he enters, he punches in his destination exit number on the dashboard console. A light indicates that his car has gone into autopilot mode.
Good morning. You are scheduled to exit at Ralston Avenue.
Dan's car steers and accelerates up the ramp onto the quick lane elevated highway at a speed of 68 miles per hour. For the next 20 miles until his exit at Ralston Road, Dan becomes a passenger in his car as the driving is under complete computer control. Dan savors his morning cup of coffee and reflects back on his old commute.
It used to take me 45 minutes to cover this 20-mile stretch. And that was on a good day when there were no major problems. just constant stop-and-go traffic. Same again going home in the evening. I usually felt drained by the end of the trip. What a way to start or finish the workday. Now I breeze through in less than 20 minutes, free all the way to prep for work, read, safely talk on my cell phone, or just relax. It's like having my own chauffeur for less than the cost of this latte. Better still, I have almost an extra hour a day that I don't waste stuck in that miserable commute traffic.
Well, there it is. Quick Lane is being developed in California. It's not quite a true dual mode because it's capturing automation, but it's not capturing energy from the road. Our next example it's called ROOF. It comes from Denmark. The inventor is Palle Jensen, and ROOF stands for Rapid Urban Flexible. Let's see what he has to say.
ROOF is a dual mode system with vehicles riding on top of a triangular monorail and driven by a patented drive system. The ROOF commuter departs from his home anywhere and at any time. He drives a few miles powered from small batteries. He is then automatically guided onto the monorail system at 20 miles per hour. On the monorail, the vehicles speed up to 100 miles per hour and they are powered from the monorail. Vehicles are coupled in trains in order to save energy. Close to the destination, the vehicles leave the monorail and the driver takes over control again. The ROOF can have an attractive design, looking almost like an ordinary car, despite the channel in the middle of the car. It can be powered from windmills, so the CO2 emission is zero from this system. ROOF is also about very attractive public transport. Every passenger has a seat and the access is extremely easy. Passengers can be collected by the maxi roof anywhere along the roads and moved very fast via the monorail network. Public transport in this way is faster than the car today. The maxi roof can load and unload passengers very fast at special offline stations. Every seat is a single seat with car comfort, so it will be able to attract car drivers. When the vehicles leave the station, they are coupled dynamically into trains to obtain large capacity. ROOF uses the space very effectively and a tunnel solution is very attractive. ROOF has been tested at the ROOF Test Center in Denmark, and ROOF has gained support from many sources internationally.
Personal cars, public transit vehicles, and cargo containers move silently with clean electric power at speeds up to 125 miles per hour, above street and highway congestion, on eye-pleasing stainless steel guideways. Traffic flows safely and quickly on a non-stop basis under computer control from entry ramp to exit ramp. Unique, lightweight, and low-cost enclosed rails enable weatherproof service at far less cost than any other approach.
That was Kirsten Henderson. He's out of Dallas, Texas. The Mega-Rail concept would work with your current car because it's moving the vehicles on what we call pallets. Our next invention comes out of Austin, Texas, and I have the inventor here right with me, so he's going to join me on the podium. This is Jerry Rohn, and I now want you to hear about Tri-Trek, his invention.
Traffic congestion is a major problem for a lot of central Texans. not just the hassle of the rush hour, but also our dependence on imported oil and the damage done to our air.
And now an Austin inventor has come up with an innovative solution that could get people moving without clogging the streets. KXAN's Dan Robertson is live on Interstate 35 with this story. Dan.
Well, Leslie, Robert, anyone who fights traffic like this knows that we need a new transit solution, one that takes us where we want to go, when we want to go there. That would be the best of both worlds, but one Austin inventor believes he has the answer.
The car goes 180 miles an hour, which is 3 miles a minute, and so you have to kind of rethink how travel would be for your daily commute. What you consider to be a 30 to 45-minute ride across Austin is 6 or 7 minutes.
It's the brainchild of Austin inventor Jerry Rowe, the Tri-Track, an electric vehicle that runs on a monorail, but also functions like a normal car.
It's an unnatural occurrence to bring large groups of people together, like in a train situation or even a bus. That's not how people travel. The car still allows you to have autonomy. You can go where you want. You're not dictated by the system of where you can go, where you can't go.
The Tri-Track shell is built of composite materials, aluminum honeycomb and fiberglass. That makes it lightweight and also rather inexpensive. The consumer price is targeted to be at about $6,000 for a complete unit.
The battery pack runs down the bottom center.
The innovation is a self-contained battery and motor pod. When the vehicle gets on the rail system, the drivetrain is removed, and the monorail gets the car up to speed.
Only take as much vehicle as you need for the situation. And when you're on the rail, you don't need nearly as much horsepower to propel the vehicle.
And computer control allows high speed at low risk.
Each track can be 9,000 people an hour. So each track is basically a superhighway.
Now, while the whole concept may sound a little futuristic, the inventor says that it requires no new technology. Everything needed to build it is available now. Tri-Track, still just a concept, but it's already drawing the attention of mobility planners in our area. If you'd like to see it for yourself, check out the link at KXAN.com. Live from I-35, Dan Robertson, KXAN News.
Excellent, Jerry. He'll be available for questions as well. Here's our next concept coming from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Travel the new century in your car at 250 miles per hour. No accidents and no pollution. Astonishing, but possible on the A2, the automobile transport unit. Trips less than 1,000 miles are faster than plane travel, and you have your car when you arrive. Even more exciting is commuting from home to work at 70 miles per hour, hands-free. You may be thinking, any system that can deliver on this promise is pretty fantastic. You're right, it is pretty fantastic. Take a look. There are 2 lanes. One is a traveling or main lane that runs at a continuous 70 mile per hour speed with no stopping. The other is an access-exit lane. A car drives onto the carrier in the access lane. The carrier accelerates to 72 miles per hour and is handed off to the traveling lane, like a baton in a relay race. It's just the opposite to exit. The traveling lane hands off the carrier to the motor in the exit lane, where it comes to a stop and the car drives away.
Okay, the inventor there is Calvin Billings. Well, my next concept, I don't have an animation for it, but comes out of Detroit, Michigan. The Prism was invented by people from Ford Motor Company, including Craig Steffen. The idea for the Prism car is that it has an electric motor on board, and to give it the extended range, it takes electric power from the grid while on the guideway. So here we're taking, we have a system that is using the energy, but it's actually not automated. The transfer is by induction, and it's quite a high-tech idea in its own right. My last example is the monomobile concept from Cincinnati, Ohio.
One thing they hate about mass transportation is waiting for a train or a bus. But what if you could eliminate the wait and you never had to leave your personal car to catch a ride? Believe it or not, there is such a thing right here in Cincinnati.
It doesn't look like your average car, because it's not. For one thing, it's smaller, but its designer says the compact size shrinks a multitude of transportation problems plaguing the world today.
The car costs less than an automobile. The mileage is much better than an automobile. Really, it solves a whole host of problems that are created by the internal combustion engine.
The automobile engine runs on electricity, but it's not just another electric car. Jay Andrews developed the prototype right here in Cincinnati. He says he combined the best of an electric personal car from Switzerland with the benefits of mass transit. Here's how it would work.
The great thing about it is, versus like a rail system, the car comes off the rail. You can drive to your destination. With light rail, it'll drop you at a station, and then you need to get from your station to your home.
Constructed, the rails would look like something right out of the Jetsons. Only difference is no one's flying. Well, not exactly.
The car is incredibly fast when it's attached to the rail because you reduce the friction. We calculate that speed of the car can reach 100 miles an hour, and that the mileage of the car would be 400 miles on $1.28 of electricity.
Much cheaper to run, and Andrews says it would help clean up the air, reducing pollution by 30 to 60%. And for those people on the go, it would save time.
The car is self-guided when it's on the track. People can use their time productively for other things.
And it's going to be some time before the monomobile or an alternative form of transportation is readily available. But Andrews says if he can get transportation experts to buy into the concept, the cars themselves would cost drivers about $10,000.
Well, there you have it. 7 interesting technologies from all over the country and even in Europe. An expert on this is here also to answer your questions, Jim Longbottom. He's just written a report for the Texas DOT that describes these and the 100 others that I mentioned. So I'll just close by reminding you that the idea here is that we're addressing energy security because the energy to supply these dual-mode vehicles for long distances is coming from anything that can make electricity. We don't have to worry about pollution from the vehicles because electric vehicles don't emit anything more than the dust that they stir up. And they'll be safer and they'll address congestion. One dual-mode lane has the capacity of 8 regular highway lanes. That's why the Texas DOT got interested in this technology. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you.